you just see all this mess in the media. You see everything's being uncovered, it looks like. And you're seeing like how much corruption there really is. Everybody kind of knew there was political corruption, but now you're seeing like, we're seeing a little more the depths of it. You know, everybody in the.
And the interesting thing about it, the corruption that you see in the media and the politicians is inside of you. It's inside of all of us until we die from it. There's nothing that they're doing that the average person doesn't do,
Right.
either to themselves or to others. So we're just seeing them on TV and going, oh, they're trying to start a war, they're trying to do this. But the exact same thing is happening in everyone. And that's where the word hypocritical come from, because the hypocrites would judge others, but they don't see what's going on inside of themselves. They got these different personalities, a nice personality for this group of people, a bad personality for this group of people, a loving and giving personality for this group of people, an angry personality for this group of people. So they are hypocrites within themselves, and that is the nature of the devil. So, and I hear a lot of people say, well, don't judge, you're being a hypocrite. But the hypocrisy is inside of each individual, because we have so many demons in us, and those demons come in all different forms. They can play nice with a group of people they want to be nice to. When men and women meet one another, they are hypocrites with one another. They put on a show, and that's not the real them. And then when they get together, they show another side of them, or groups or churches or whatever. The hypocrite, the demons lies in us, and we have the hypocrites inside of us. And if you pay attention to yourself, you will see how you act with one person as opposed to another person. And it's all based on who that person, especially if that person has like a title, and you want some of that title, you'll really put on an act. You'll put on like, oh, you're wonderful, I really like you. When you're really being a hypocrite, you just want something from that person. That's why they were able to turn on Christ in a way, because they were hypocrites. They wanted something from him. And as soon as something happened, the disciples scattered, and the hypocrites came out of the woodwork. They weren't really following him in the way they pretended. They were trying to get something from him. But we are everything we see out there, what's happening to other people. We're no different than the government. It's the same spirit. You know, Christ said, the same spirit that raised, the Bible says, the same spirit that raised Christ from the dead dwells in us, and that's true. But we got to overcome the false identity. You must, and you can die slowly but surely from the ego. And I didn't know this, but you could really die, but you got to be like the buffaloes. You got to go into it. You got to go into the storm. Whereas before we've been told to go away from the storm. Don't let someone make a fool of you. Don't let yourself be embarrassed. I can't believe they're doing this or doing that. I can't believe this woman is cheating on me. I can't believe that or that. Let it happen. And if you're feeling something about it, face that. Go into it and face it. Because if you were not a hypocrite, you wouldn't feel anything about what's happening out there. If you were in the kingdom, you would not feel anything. But people get married, and if their husband or wife cheat on them, they get mad at the husband or wife that cheated. Instead of saying, what was wrong with me? What kind of false security I'm trying to get from this person that now that they have cheated, I feel upset about it? Who are you that you should get upset that your husband or your wife cheated on you? You know better. Christ said those who have anger are murderers. And so you were being a hypocrite. You were trying to use that person for your own good feeling. Now that person tried to find somebody else to make them feel good. Now you feel bad. And instead of looking at that so you can overcome it, you blame the person, or you go find somebody else that you can get a fake love or a fake identity from. This stuff runs deep. When I say all thoughts are all lies all the time, I was like lower level thinking this. I knew thought was lying, but I didn't know that everything I had become, everything I had taught, I didn't know the depths of how I've been lied to. And I have to die spiritually in order to live. Once to die, once to live. So you got to die. All right? Yes, I'm sorry. Anything?
No, sir.
That's
Amazing.
helpful?
Amazing.
So let go of all intellectual knowledge. Knowledge is good to hear, like you hear this message today, but don't hold on to it. Keep your glass empty, because you will find yourself repeating it. And it's Satan to tell you that, you know what, they really think you're smart. They think you're wise. Oh, this is true, right? And you feel good from that. And you'll go through your whole life pretending, but you will not know the kingdom. You will not enter the kingdom. And that's a dangerous thing that can happen. Whether it's secular information or Christian information, whatever kind, it's so easy for people to quote it and deceive themselves thinking that they know it. Now, I don't want you to start telling yourself, oh, I'm doing this intellectual either. Just see it for what it is so that the light will take it away from you. But you got to be honest within you so the truth can make you free. Another thing I want to encourage you, and some of this stuff is coming from what I'm hearing from people in counseling. I don't know where this idea come from or came from. Stop telling people your personal business. Don't tell anyone your personal business. The disciples never told their personal business. They say, oh, I got a problem, but I ain't tell you what it is. And I know the way out of it is to go to the light and overcome it. Don't tell me. It ain't going to, if anybody, should I say this? Blah, 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 blah. I was near two people talking, and one person was asking the other person about their personal business, and the person was so weak, rather than saying, that's not your business. Why are you asking me my personal business? You need to examine yourself to see why you're asking me about my personal business. They were so weak, they told the person their personal business because they were too afraid to say none of your business. You can say none of your business. Why are you asking me that? There ain't nothing they can do about it. They're not asking you about it in love or out of love. It's about the heart. Salvation is about the heart. Christ searched the heart. All right? So in the good old days, people tell you, none of your business. And now generation, you're afraid. Another thing I want to share with you there, we're going to end here. But don't be afraid to tell someone that's not your business. All right, men and women, don't be afraid. Ain't nothing they can do about it. You can't do anything about it. So all they're going to do is get your business. When they get mad at you, their ego is going to try to hurt your ego. That's all it is. Nothing they can do about it. You can't do anything about it, so why are they even asking? Another thing, men, do not get into crying. So many men are getting into, I saw this, I guess it was a commercial or some type of promo. These two black men, one had what appeared to be his little son with him, and the other one seemed to be the expert. I'm not sure who was who, right? But the one that's supposed to be the expert, the big black guy with a beard, he was telling the father and the son, you, something like, I don't remember the exact word, you got to learn to cry. You got to learn to get into your emotions. And nothing wrong with being crying or something like that. I don't have the exact word. And then the little boy, looked like he was about 5 or 6 years old, responded and said, well, when I cry sometimes, and I don't even know why I'm crying, but I just cry. And then the father responded by saying, yes, I used to not cry. I grew up not crying. But my son have taught me to cry. I've learned to cry because of my son, so now I cry. I'm like, what a poor, pitiful excuse of a daddy. Can you imagine you a little kid and your daddy talking about he cry like mama? Men, don't be crying. All right? Now, if somebody died, you shed a tear, let it pass. Don't be carrying on about it. Don't hold on to it because it turned to sadness turned to grief anyway. Grief turned to all kind of crap. But men, you don't need to be crying. And don't let anyone, I know 100% sure that came from the mothers and the so-called women who were taking over. I remember Oprah used to teach that a lot of her shows. You need to cry. You need to feel something. And now the men are crying. So if the fathers are crying and the mothers are crying, what would the kids grow up to be? I remember growing up when if they caught us crying, they boy, you better go sit down, cut out that crying. What you crying for? Deal with things. There's no room for tears, all right? So men, don't be crying. And this year, coming up, we'll be here next Sunday if the Lord is willing and the creek will rise. I want to encourage you to do the silent prayer. Stay on that straight and narrow. Stay there. It's not easy only because you've identified with the not you as though it is you. You've identified with the voice of the devil and the emotions of the devil, and that stuff has been promoted. So you've been convinced that it's you. But I want to encourage you, stay on that path, stay on it no matter what happens, no matter who falls away, if you lose your children or whatever. You stay on that path, do the silent prayer, and watch. You're going to be surprised at the wisdom that will come when the wall is being torn down. You will be able to see. So work on yourself. Next week, we have a little plan laid out we're going to share with you as to some of the things you need to start working on, being aware of, but you got to work on you. And do the practical things, go to work, drive your car, buy your food, whatever, but work on the not you. You're not going to see anything good about you at all, and be glad to see that, all right? All the things we talked about today is inside of all of you. It's inside of everyone that's born through the woman because we're born of sin, and sin is evil. It's dark. It's wicked. It's fake, but it's wicked. Even the fakeness is wickedness. Even the phony smile and the phony this is wickedness. The darkness hate the light, but the light will destroy it.